I still had a competitive need though. I wanted to push myself, but I didn't want to get punched in the face anymore doing Muay Thai and MMA. Jiu-Jitsu seemed to click for me. This is one of those sports that you can practice for a very long time, and the longer you're on the mats, the better you'll get.
Welcome to the Combat Creative Podcast, where we explore the heart of Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, uncovering its creative, entrepreneurial, and leadership qualities with guests who embody what it means to be a leader in our BJJ community. Now on 3, 1, 2...
Everybody, thank you so much for tuning in to another episode of the Combat Creative Podcast. I am here today in freezing cold Omaha, Nebraska, but I'm very much looking forward to it. We're here in town for some business planning that I'm doing with our companies, but I get to drop in and meet amazing people all over the country. So today we are here at Lokahi Jiu-Jitsu Collective in Omaha, Nebraska, with one of the founders, Mr. Ryan Yamada. Ryan, how are you doing, my friend?
Pleasure to be here. It's always warmer on the mats.
It is. Thank you so much for just like hosting me. We just finished having lunch, which was great. It's always nice when you do get to, kind of get to know the person a little bit better, especially when they're a stranger. And so that was great. Thank you for that. And he just finished giving me a tour of this beautiful academy that you have here. You and your partners started, well, I'm speaking for you, but tell us a little bit about when you started it, and we'll just take it off from there.
Sure. Well, the idea of Lokahi started long ago, but we as a business opened up in June of last year.
And guys, they've done a lot. And I don't know what it was like. I didn't get to see too much of like the remodeling, but we're sitting in it right now. Big, beautiful mat space. How many square foot is it?
Total is about 6,000 square feet, and half of that is mat space.
Yeah. They have this amazing workout area. He took me upstairs. Behind me, they're going to be building like what did you call it? A members lounge?
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's going to be great to see.
Exclusive access.
Yeah. It's really great. I've been to a lot of places in America. I've seen a lot of gyms, and this is probably up there in like top 3. So congratulations.
Thank you.
And I don't even know if the jiu-jitsu's good. I mean, I'll find out tomorrow morning. So tomorrow morning, I'm going to be going before my business meetings. I'm going to be going, who's teaching?
Nolan.
Okay. So it's a gi class. This guy's a no-gi guy, but, I'm going to be coming to class in the morning, so I'm looking forward to it. But Ryan, before we get into I'm excited for today because what I have planned is I want to have some conversations just around mindset and business, maybe branding under the jiu-jitsu bubble, because you guys have done a good job of it. But before, just share a little bit how you found jiu-jitsu and how you got started.
Sure. Well, as many practitioners, our journeys start from weird places that oftentimes don't seem like that would be the case. And for me, I started in judo, had a very unsuccessful judo career, or a couple years there before I found wrestling in middle school. And at the time where I grew up in Hawaii, cage fighting, MMA is very big. It's part of the culture there. And our wrestling coaches had started training MMA and doing jiu-jitsu.
Okay.
And so in the school year, when we would do wrestling practice, it was pretty typical. But then in the summertime, they would randomly toss a jiu-jitsu move on you if they thought A, you were getting the better of them, or B, they just wanted to wrist lock you, right?
There you go.
And I remember the first time I almost took down one of my wrestling coaches, right? I was really excited about it, because he always whooped my butt. And I shot in on a deep double leg. I was about to finish it, and he just tossed on this guillotine, made me tap.
He knew you had him, so he had to stop you real quick.
Yeah. And I remember thinking, God, what was that? It was so effective. I didn't understand it because I thought I was winning.
Mm-hmm.
And from that point, I remember going to the library that we had on campus. I found a book of martial arts. And inside there was, 3 pages on jiu-jitsu. And one of those moves was a triangle. And so my friends and I from that library, we went and we were just after school on the concrete trying to learn how to do a triangle from this picture book.
Wow, that's neat.
And that was how I started doing jiu-jitsu.
Hey, real quick, I just finished rolling and I'm exhausted here at the academy, but I had to pause to give a quick shout out to Gold BJJ. Now, I've been using their products for years. I train in their gis, I compete in their gis, and I use their products every single day. It's high quality, affordable, and they're designed by jiu-jitsu practitioners for jiu-jitsu practitioners. I actually had their co-founder, Mr. Cole South, on the podcast. He was one of my very first episodes, and I had a great time talking to him, learning about the company and what makes them unique from other jiu-jitsu brands. So go ahead and check that out. And if you'd like to support the show, the best way that you can do that is click the link below and grab some gear for yourself. But Gold is not sponsoring the show directly. It's you guys when you shop at the link below. So go ahead and visit goldbjj.com/combatcreative. That's goldbjj.com/combatcreative. Thank you guys so much. Now back to the episode. Well, fast forward to in 2021, you won worlds at your brown belt at the time
That's right. Yep.
in no-gi.
Yep.
So just talk a little bit about that progression from day one to now to hitting that accomplishment to then opening up a school.
Sure. Well, I would like to say first that I was never an all-star athlete in anything. I tried other sports, baseball and soccer and, all the things that, typical kids try and had very little success there. And I still had a competitive need, though. I wanted to push myself. I just didn't find the right thing. And after I decided that I didn't want to get punched in the face anymore doing Muay Thai and MMA, Jiu-Jitsu seemed to click for me. And I remember one of our coaches saying, this is one of those sports that you can practice for a very long time. You can have a much longer career than if you were in boxing or Muay Thai. And the longer you're on the mats, the better you'll get. And so going through and just sticking with Jiu-Jitsu was something that I really enjoyed. It kind of became an addiction as it is to many of us practitioners. I know you can relate to that.
Oh, yeah.
And through that, I was able to begin doing competitions. I didn't think that competitions were something that I really wanted to dive deep into because, let's face it, if you look at the professional athletes, right, the people who dedicate themselves to competition, it's a completely different lifestyle, right? You're working 40, 50, 60 hours, but in that sport, in that discipline. And for me, I didn't think that that was something that I wanted to do. I wanted to have a professional life and a career outside of this. I wanted to have a family outside of this. And so initially, I thought that competition was something I wanted to push myself with, but it wasn't something I was going to dedicate my life towards.
I get that. So you end up in Omaha, Nebraska, which is a long ways away from Hawaii.
Yeah.
Which is where you're from. And who came up with the idea to start Lokahi?
Yeah. Well, I will have to blame and give credit to my partner, Matt Hansen. During COVID, we trained or we were trying to find a place to train because all the gyms were shut down. And
yeah, a lot of people were struggling with that.
And you know that, right? Well, Matt had a series of body shops, and one of them, which is right in back of this place, actually. And he said, hey, guys, listen, if we don't tell anybody, we'll just go up into the employee break room. We can lay down some mats and, we can train there in secrecy. And so we called that Great Plains BJJ, GP BJJ. And I actually think Matt has that as his bumper sticker, but or his license plate. But that's really where the idea came about, because at the time we were training at another gym and I was about to take a teaching position, opening a no-gi program at another school. But Matt said, gosh, this is really fun. The crew that we're with, the instruction that we're getting, I think we could go further with this. And, I kept pushing it off and I said, oh, Matt, I don't think we're ready. I don't think this is something we're interested in, because building a business, building a school is a lot of work, and
It
it requires a lot of responsibility. But Matt was the one who kept pushing on it. And, I guess together with our other partner, Nolan, we just decided, hey, now's the time.
And you didn't go like half-hearted into this thing. So how did you all get on the same page with what you wanted this to look like?
Oh, it was so difficult.
Was it?
It was so difficult because Um, I mean, for example, one of the most challenging things, and my partners will laugh about this, was the color palette.
Okay.
Was the color palette. Um,
It's really nice. So what did they want?
well, Nolan's wife, Jenny, is a graphic designer and very, very artistically minded. And she was generous enough to help us along with design ideas. And so she would give us palettes to choose from. And hey, what do you think about this blue or this maroon? And every day I was just throwing color ideas to our partners, and they were separately texting each other. Gosh, is Ryan texting you again about what color we should make the logo, this and that? But ultimately, we wanted earth tones. We wanted something warm, something natural looking. And I think that we accomplished that with, our aesthetic, our wood tones, but also, as you see here, our plant collective.
Yeah. Got a few of those behind us. Tell us what the name means.
Yeah. Lokahi, although it's pronounced many ways here in the Midwest, it is Lokahi, and it's a Hawaiian word which means unity or agreement.
And why were those things important to you?
Yeah. Well, first, unity. In the old school martial arts, you only came up under one teacher or one master, right? And that was what people wanted. But I think as martial arts has changed over time, you're seeing that there's a benefit to having many different backgrounds, many different experiences. And that's really what we bring here at Lokahi. Nolan and myself and our other coaches, we may come from different lineages. Myself, I came up through the 10th planet system. Nolan came up through a different ranking system. And because of that, we all add different elements to our collective. And from a unity's perspective, I think there's nothing more important than having a diversity of coaches, of experiences, and for your members to ultimately grow in the way that they choose.
Yeah, that's a really great way to look at it. If you can view those differences as advantages, it doesn't mean they don't cause frustration at times.
Sure.
But I mean, what a great thing to take each one of your business partners, maybe their skills and their abilities, also their backgrounds, and then to make something unique. That's what we all should be doing. Hey, real quick, are you a jiu-jitsu professor who's struggling to keep up with creating content for your business? Well, listen up, because we get it. Content creation isn't easy, especially when you're running a business or training full time. If you would rather focus on what you do best and leave the content to the professionals, then please reach out to us here at Combat Creative. We've worked with world champions like Lucas Pinheiro, helping him create 30 pieces of content every month, and the results have been insane. His reach has grown by 278%, reaching almost 500,000 new accounts every month. If you are ready to grow your brand and become an authority in our community, let's make it happen. Visit combatcreativemedia.com and we'd be happy to help you. Now back to the episode. When I think about mindset, because some of that, that we have to make some changes as academy owners, from practitioners to opening a gym. What are some of the biggest mindset shifts that you think jiu-jitsu academy owners have to make to, one, start the gym, and then to try to make it successful?
Yeah, two things come to mind for me, Jared. The first is that it's very difficult to be both a competitor and a coach at the same time. I had a very wise black belt once told me it's one of those golden triangles that there are three things and you can only be two of them. The first is a technician. The second is a competitor. And the third is a coach. You have to pick two. You cannot be all three. And so many of us, by nature in jiu-jitsu, we want to be technicians, right? So that box is automatically checked. But then when it comes to the other two, many people try to straddle the line between being an excellent coach as well as exceeding and excelling in competition. And what I found, at least for me, right? Competition is a very selfish pursuit. And that's one of the reasons why I've said that I didn't want to focus on competition, because my training sessions have to be geared around getting me better versus helping my teammates get better, helping our students get better. And I'm not saying that everybody struggles with that, but at least for me, when I want to pour energy back into seeing something grow, I always try to think, what mode am I in? What gear am I in, right? The
Sure.
coach or the competitor? And so I think that's the first mindset shift that we have to make in deciding what do we get good at. The second is changing it from a hobby that we enjoy, that we're addicted to, that we come to and train on these mats, and then moving that into a business. And many
Yeah.
times we think of businesses as these corporations and lifeless entities without soul. And, hey, that's not me because I'm a jiu-jitsu practitioner. But there's nothing wrong with running a profitable business. And in fact, some of the best things in the world you can do is have a profitable business that can then give back to the community, reinvest in your people and in your space, and ultimately provide that great experience.
What you said about the three things, I love that. I'm going to remember that, by the way. There's something that I was told once in business. So in my realm of producing media, we are told there's three things everybody wants, but you can only choose two. One is the quality, the time it takes, and the price.
Yep. Love
And
that.
so lots of times you can never have all three. If you want quality and price, it's going to take longer.
Mm-hmm.
But if you want quality and time, well, the price is going to go up. Or so you can kind of play the similar game in business. And even like owning a gym, even if you think of those things, you can apply that and figure out maybe, do you have to be good at all three? I mean, or should a gym try to be all three or focus on two?
I think that's a challenge, but that's also why you have multiple peoples.
That's a
Right.
good point. Yeah.
If one person is trying to wear all the hats, impossible, right? Absolutely impossible. And this as a business owner.
Yeah.
Wearing too many hats is just a good way of messing up more than one thing or delivering poor quality on multiple items. We do have some individuals, some coaches at our gym who are really focused on being on the competition mode. And then we have other people who have no desire in ever doing another competition.
Right.
And they both contribute in different ways.
And that makes me think about a lot of professors that I've interviewed. They love teaching, but really struggle with the business side of things. So what advice do you have to balance your passion with small business?
And well, I'm not going to sit here and claim that I've got it all figured out.
Sure.
But I will say, from having been a part and run businesses that were successful and maybe less successful, the first thing is, again, what is the difference between a club and organized business like jiu-jitsu, right? And I would say structure is the easiest thing. Structure is the easiest thing, and it can come in a number of different ways. Number one, what is the structure or the process of handling a new person, right? Whether it's a prospect or a lead or a new student, whatever you want to call it, how do you handle that intake? Is there a repeatable process in how you reach out to them, how you connect with them, how you bring them in the door? Because that's the first touch, that's the first experience. And then how do we follow up with them? How do we make sure that they're not just coming to class, but also how are they gaining progress? That's part of it. That's something that we think about with our client journey map. The other part of it is a lot of schools and professors, have been doing this for a long time, and they show up to class, and whatever the coach wants to teach, that's what the students are learning that day. And when you have this wealth of knowledge, that's fantastic for you, right?
Yeah.
But I don't necessarily think that that's the best way for somebody to progress and to learn.
Okay.
And just like if you were in the university or you're in a school, there is a curriculum. There is a progression of 101 to 201 to 301. There's a pathway to gaining mastery in anything. And when we were at lunch, we were talking about what makes some people stick to jiu-jitsu versus others. And you said something really interesting, which is you felt progress in your jiu-jitsu, and that's why you stuck with it. Was that right?
Yeah. I just like learning.
Yeah.
I'm kind of obsessing over it. And my wife will know this, But throughout my life, I've been blessed with, call it a gift of whatever hobby I take on, I kind of excel at it really quickly. Not in everything, folks, my friends that are listening, but like videography, photography, certain athletics, teaching, speaking, social media, but not jujitsu. So like I always am showing up, still learning, and I haven't, and I think that's what I really enjoy learning. I enjoy learning something new, where I'm still learning things about videography and lighting, but really I kind of I got it down, and I'm really happy with where I'm at. But not with jujitsu. I have days where I'm like, man, I'm learning this, and then by Thursday I'm driving home. I don't know anything. So yeah, that's a big part of my constant mag magneticism to this is just the learning.
You know, something that goes really hand in hand with the learning that is required for progress, in my opinion, is that feedback loop,
Right.
right? We so go back to, the club mentality where, students show up and learn something new and novel, whatever the, flavor of the day is. That's one thing. And that can stimulate a certain type of, learning, a certain type of knowledge. But if they never can hit it in an actual role against a resisting opponent, then how do you know if that learning was validated or not? Right? So I think having the knowledge has to go hand in hand with being able to make practical application work. And it's one of the reasons why jujitsu is so rewarding, because let's say you're working on your arm bars that day, and if the class is structured correctly, you should probably have some type of feedback loop to say, did you learn and are you able to apply? Right. And however that may be in games or positional rounds or whatever case may be. But that type of feedback loop, so valuable and again, so unique to jujitsu.
Yeah. No, it really is. And that's why it's special to me and so many people. You were sharing a little bit about your mission here, your goals. Even at lunch, you were talking about community. But I want to ask, what's one of the biggest common mistakes you see other Jiu-Jitsu Academy owners make when running their schools? And what are you doing to try to do it differently?
Whew, man,
Not trying to throw anybody under the bus, but
that's the special sauce of Lokahi right there. I would say that what we wanted to change was how new individuals, new students are introduced to jujitsu,
sure.
acclimated to jujitsu. I've been to a number of gyms that, because maybe they don't focus on jujitsu, maybe jujitsu is their secondary or third offering, right? They're a boxing gym, an MMA gym. It's just jujitsu program, right? 6 o'clock to 7:30 is just jujitsu, and the next day is nogi jujitsu, right? Other schools might call it all levels. And in theory, that's not a bad idea because you have different levels of practitioners coming together, but they're both coming in with very different levels of experience. And it's hard to set that baseline. So what we try to do here at Lokahi is, again, in breaking out the curriculum levels, we have 3 different levels that are meant to guide somebody through, hey, if you've never stepped on the mats before, you have no idea what a sprawl is, you have no idea what side control is, we need to give you a different program, a different introduction than somebody who's been grappling for a year.
Exactly.
And then that has to be a different game than somebody who's been grappling for 5 years, right? Knowing the nuances or understanding certain concepts requires a baseline of knowledge. And so when I think of schools or experiences that I've seen that may not lead to students having progress or developing skills, it's probably because of those all skills or all levels classes, right? Because they're not able to take the knowledge they've learned and then apply them in practice.
How do you decide what class someone goes in? I mean, I think that's a great idea. I love that.
Yeah.
I mean, I remember when starting, I was going to all level classes.
Yeah.
And then, I've been training a couple of years, and then I'm like, man, I do not know how to like really pass a guard, or like, how do I pass close guard? Because I knew a lot of these like tools from all levels class,
Right.
but I was missing a lot of holes in the foundation. So how do you decide where someone's at in which class they go to?
Yeah. Well, I'm going to answer this from both sides of my mouth. We like our students to go through our class curriculum,
Okay.
right? Foundations, which is our 101, fundamentals of sport jiu-jitsu, which is our 201, and then our advanced practitioners or our lifestyle class, that's our 301. We like people to go through that. But the other side of this is it's an individual journey, and the student has to take ownership,
Okay.
right? Because ultimately we can design a curriculum and say, this is what we want you to work on. But we also want the student to take ownership and say, I want to work on my leg locks. I want to work on my wrestling and my stand-up. I want to work on the basics of X, Y, and Z. And it's really refreshing when take Matt, for example, my partner. He said that out of all of the classes that he enjoys and learns the most from, it's our foundations class. It's our 101 class. And he could go to any class that he wants, but he chooses to go to foundations because he said, hey, I was raised in a sport jiu-jitsu gym, for years before I came here and started training. There were so many things that I didn't learn or I didn't pick up because of just the focus of that class.
Of course.
And that's not to say this is right or wrong. Coming from the 10th planet system, we focused on leg locks from day one, right? We were trying to heel hook as many upper belts as we could as new white belts. But I also didn't know how to pass guard. I didn't know how to break a guard. My thought was, if I can heel hook you, that's my way to victory.
Game over.
And so when I transitioned to my second school, the thing that I focused on most was positional controls and the basics and the fundamentals that I hadn't gotten.
I'm going to transition a little bit to some marketing or branding type questions. You've been open almost a year now, and we were talking a little bit about your numbers. I'm sure they're going to continue to grow, but you're profitable. What are some marketing strategies that you guys have used to attract new students in the beginning?
Sure. Well, I would say that marketing is just another way of saying, letting people know that you exist.
Correct.
And marketing could be anything from a billboard. It could be a logo on a shirt. But ultimately, you just want eyeballs on your business and getting people interested in what you have to offer. One of the first things was we wanted to pick a good location. I can pull stats from where all of our leads come from, and business metrics is a whole nother discussion.
Right.
We track all that. And I can see how many of our leads and prospects are coming to us first via our physical location. They say, hey, we saw the sign from the road lit up at night. We were interested and we just Googled you. The other is online, right? People are going online just as much as they're driving down this road. Hopefully not at the same time, but it happens. And that is another storefront that we need to be very visible on. So we try to be, keep our Google reviews up and our search rankings and our SEO as relevant as possible. But the third is the community and our referrals. Any business will tell you that it's the strongest, the best and strongest client or customer comes from a referral.
Absolutely.
And a warm introduction versus a Google click, right? I mean, you can pay hundreds and thousands of dollars for click-through ads, and you may never talk to a single person. But once you get somebody to come in through the door, that's where the magic happens. That's where they can see how jiu-jitsu works. And so over the past few years, I've hosted a community open mat, which allows any gym and any affiliation to come and train here in the city. And over the past few years, it's really grown, especially as some of my fellow black belts have brought their students in and encouraged their teams to come and train. And so, on Sundays, we can have, upwards of 50 people sharing this mat together from 6 or 7 different gyms. We have, a number of
And
people.
people aren't worried about competition.
Initially, maybe, right? Some people will say, hey, I think that guy's going to be in my bracket for grappling industries. I don't want to go with him. But listen.
But what about gym owners? Because I feel like that's a big thing too, a little bit.
Oh,
They're like,
pride is
can't-
always an issue.
you can't
right?
you can't go train anywhere else. But here you have this open space and you have people coming.
Yeah,
Is it just aligning yourself with other academy owners or black belts that are like on the same page, or?
I will say there's a number of gyms in town who still strongly discourage their members from trying out other gyms, whether it's ours or others, right? But ultimately, that control is only going to hurt the development of their students. And I think that
Gotcha.
an educated student, an educated buyer, they're going to get wise to that. And they're going to say, hey, how can I broaden my skill set? It may be at the gym that I'm at, right? If they have a diverse set of teachers, but it might also be with another place. And, I'm an example of that, right? I went up through brown belt in one system, and then I decided, hey, I wanted to broaden my experience. So I went somewhere completely different. And I think when you see all the people here on these mats on Sundays, they open their eyes and they go, wow, that person trains differently. They grapple differently. They hold side control differently. And
That can be fun. Part of this whole
I
thing.
love it. Yeah.
Shameless plug. I came out with a YouTube video
Yeah.
earlier this month because it's the beginning of the year. I have a lot of friends that have reached out to me, other dads that are like, hey, I'm interested in this. What advice do you have? So I'm not sharing. I'll let you black belts and you professionals do the techniques, but like I can share advice from my point of view. One of the 4 tips that I gave was, and I'm curious for your feedback, visit as many gyms as possible, not to gym hop. So like maybe find a gym, get your foundations in. Like once you've been training for 6 months, you like it. I'm like, go visit as many gyms as possible. My reasoning behind it was, well, it could be a few things, but there's amazing people who do this, and you're going to meet amazing people. I've shared maps with criminals and police officers, rich people, poor people. And then we're all having a good time. So for me, it was like the community aspect. Also, it does give you a picture of what else is out there. But yeah, that was some advice that I gave out in the beginning. Visit as many gyms as possible in the beginning, maybe at open mats. So
I love that. I think forming more connections than less, it's part of the human experience. And that's a wonderful thing with jiu-jitsu. There are countless studies that say that as men age, and I'm saying men specifically as a man, we are terrible with forming connections, especially with other men. Part of it's that primitive testosterone, monkey brain. You're trying to get my cheese and I'm trying to get your cheese, right?
yeah,
But when you come to jiu-jitsu, all those barriers are immediately broken down, right? You are grappling with another human. You are tearing down those walls, and you're getting a lot closer than you probably ever would. And so at the end of the day, you're like, well, what's your name?
Yeah.
I'm Ryan. Tell me a little bit about yourself. And I think you can form some really awesome bonds with people who choose to do something like jiu-jitsu.
You mentioned referrals, and for those academy owners that are listening, I don't want to skip over that. What advice do you have to get more referrals outside of an open mat?
Yeah. One of my business coaches once told me, if you want to get more referrals, work on being referable.
It's not rocket science.
It's not rocket science.
But what is elaborate on being referable?
Yeah. It all comes back to delivering a delightful client experience, right? Some of the best businesses in the world don't focus all of their energy, all of their marketing budget on advertisements and pay-per-clicks and all these things that you may think. They focus on how do we have our team members deliver a repeatable, delightful experience. And I really try to think about that when we think, how do we increase our referrals? Well, how can we pour back into the experience of our members, our current members? And in doing so, I think they will bring people, they will tell people, hey,
Yes.
I'm doing this new hobby. It's called jiu-jitsu.
Right.
And somebody's going to say, hey, that's that thing Joe Rogan is talked about.
Yeah.
I thought it was karate at first. You guys wear those silly cotton things.
Yeah.
And you're like, yeah, you should come and try it. Right. I think that's a big part of referrals.
So be referable. A couple of takeaways that I love is location's important.
Yeah.
You already have the location and you can't do anything about that. It doesn't just mean location like within a big city, but it also means like where are you at? Are you storefront or like street facing? Are you on the corner? But if you can't, you have to control the things you can control. So if you can't control your location right now, you can probably control your sign. And that is such a little detail that I didn't want to skip over. In traveling and visiting places, I kind of put myself in the position of what this would be like for a new member because I don't know this place. I've never been there before. Sometimes they're really hard to find where a sign could make the world of a difference. So control what you can control. Signage, super important. I know that's probably an investment, big or large. If you can't afford a big like physical sign, buy a big banner and just mount that up. And yes, you may have to replace it with the weather, but that's something. But man, you be referable. That's so good. And that's nothing new. But maybe that's the first time you're hearing this and thinking, okay, what experience does somebody get the moment they walk in and the moment they leave? No, that's great.
There's something called the customer journey map, which is
Right.
from start to finish, what does your client experience? And yeah, I think this is a black belt curse that when we've been doing something for so long, we forget about the journey that we've taken, right? It's very hard to put yourself in the shoes of a white belt when you haven't been there in over a decade or 2 decades or however that may be. And if you're trying to attract new students, thinking about the business owner mindset, it may be hard for you to even think about that because when's the last time that you may have searched for a jiu-jitsu gym? How is somebody online? What kind of search queries are they using, right? What kind of keywords are they using? And so I think it's really important to put on the hat of, I've never searched for jiu-jitsu before, right? I don't know where to start. Where are they going? And maybe ask, at a holiday dinner table, ask your sister, ask your in-laws, hey, I know you don't know what type of karate I do, but if you were trying to look for a jiu-jitsu gym, how would you find one?
And go to my website and actually, it's a good thing. You don't know about this? Go to my website and but by the time you leave, do you feel like in a short amount of time, you understand who we are, what we offer, and how you can get it? That's what I say.
Love it.
I think that's great. The social media is amazing. I love it. You guys, I kind of found you through the internet. I think your branding and social media is really sharp. At lunch, we were talking about cameras. Ryan, do you do most of the photography here? It's really good. There's
Thank you.
pictures along the wall, maybe even behind me. I encourage you, follow them on their social media, check it out. But social media can be huge for growing a business. How can gym owners use social media to attract more students?
I think it has to be natural to you. You have to express yourself on social in a way that is natural, or else it's going to seem very artificial.
Okay.
And I'm not going to speak from the position of a habitual content creator where we're putting out videos each and every day. We are doing a type of awareness, a type of branding to let people know what we're about, to give a taste of our personality, a taste of our culture, a taste of the things that are important to us. and we are inviting them to come and learn more. There are other gyms or other schools that are trying to put out content. They're building a brand in a different way. And, more power to them. I wish we had that bandwidth. I simply do not. And as long as it's working for them and it aligns with their business goals, I think that's the most important thing. Understanding first, what are the overarching business goals that we're trying to accomplish, and how can social media make or align with that?
Yeah, you guys don't post every day. I've been to it, but I feel like it's intentional. So that's what I liked about it. I go to the gyms where like they're putting out technique content every day and I'm learning something from them.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm expecting. But with this, when I'm looking for like a first, again, I'm somebody from a different state, but I would like you guys to think about what do the soccer moms in the area think when they come to my Instagram page. They need to have a balance. They don't need to know what a rolling bow and arrow is. They just need to know, okay, like, is this a safe place for me to bring my kids? So I think technique is valuable. I think you can balance it also with, I love that you take really good photos of your team members. I think did you just have a promotion ceremony recently?
I did, yeah.
And you have smiling faces of the people that were promoted and a nice image, and it looks intentional and it looks professional. And the cool thing is, Ryan, it accurately mirrors the experience when I came in here today. And we're not even doing a class, but I can see it. So I like that. I'm getting a first impression of what this place is like before I even went there. I think that's important. That's definitely how you can use social media in many different ways. I think that's one way. It's really probably is your first impression before it happens in person. Wrapping this up a little bit, this has been really valuable for me, and I hope other people have gotten something out of it as well. What is some of the best piece of business advice? You've been doing this a couple months. You probably learned things. How long? Actually, let's take it back. How long did it take you from the idea to open this gym?
Hmm. Well, I would say that Matt initially planted the idea when we were watching our coach at ADCC in 2022.
Okay, 2022.
Yeah, that's when I claimed the seed was planted. Then it was about, just making concept into reality.
Okay. So with all this new but yet vast and fun experience this journey you're on, what is some of the best business advice that you've learned that other jiu-jitsu academy owners need to hear?
Hmm. I would say that each instructor has a different experience and different journey that is very, very unique to them.
Okay.
And those create strengths. Those create opportunities for leaning into and growing the business in a very specific way. Take, for example, I came initially from the wedding industry. And so my background in media, in photography, lended well to making an aesthetic gym and branding ourselves that way. I know a number of people who have no interest in taking photos, and maybe their skills or backgrounds come from other places, right? I would really do a deep dive in what journey have you been on as an individual, as a practitioner, and then as an instructor, and then finding unique ways to brand and market, and then integrate your personality into the DNA of whatever you're building. That's how you're going to differentiate yourself from the gym down the street.
I like that. My last question, why do you do this? Why do you love jiu-jitsu?
It checks off so many boxes, man. It's a great workout. It's the community. It fills my cup intellectually. And, I think any practitioner is almost at a loss of words to try and describe what jiu-jitsu gives us. But ultimately, it's given me far more than I've ever put into it.
Well, this was great. Ryan, thank you so much. Guys, if you are if you're so lucky to find yourselves near Omaha, Nebraska, I really encourage you to check out Ryan and his gym here, all of his members, the other instructors. Ryan, where can people find out more about your academy here?
Yeah. Well, of course, as you mentioned, if you're ever laid over in Omaha, or you've driven to the wrong place and you find yourself in Omaha, we're located in this wonderful city. Omaha is actually a lovely place when it's not 0 degrees out as it is right now.
Yeah.
But our Instagram, Lokahi_Omaha. I am the foodlock or the footlock foodie.
Yeah, there you go.
I like footlocks and I also love food, as
Yeah,
you and I share a
good
love
one
for.
today.
But otherwise, join us for an open mat. Come by, experience our space. We love meeting people and sharing our space with others.
Great. Well, Ryan, thank you so much for taking time out of your day to be on the show.
Thank you, man.
To all you viewers, I just want to say thank you to each one of you with all the podcasts and video podcasts you could be watching and listening to on the internet. The fact that you took time out of your day to listen to this one, I appreciate it. I know Ryan does. Check them out, and we'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.